really am paranoid is stranger danger uncle, and I haven't even thought about lesbianism and all those are not my problems. My problem is the threat. She's the under 18 female Nigerian is under siege by unwanted sexual attention.
Yep.
And the age that my daughter is now, you know that age where they're like ripe mango. Then on top of it, she has a kind of yellow that's shining, that confuses people. And I'm like a hawk. So you're a mom, like you say, like me, you're a mom. Like, lesbians are not your problem. Your problem is the uncle, your brothers, your husband's brothers, your cousins, those people that you're training in the village that come to the house to see you. Then your driver, who thinks that the girl is looking fresh in his eye. Then your gate man, who be scratching his head and his holocaust when he sees her. That's your fear. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Your fear is not LBGTI. Your fear are those men who are unaccountable because society makes them unaccountable to the sexual assault of under 18s. So, as speaking from the angle of a mom, my dear, you should become a black hawk, eagle. He's chaperoning her, following her. Seriously, that's what I do.
I also just want to add finally maybe that I don't have any kids that I know of.
We'll find out.
No, but I also want to say that all of this is not saying that the LGBT community is perfect, right? And that you will find people, just like if everybody here was LGBT, there will be people who will be arrested for theft, for rape, for blah blah, just like the straight community, right? So it's not saying, because I've had situations where a certain LGBT activist was called to a police station, right? That one of your people are here. And when he went there, it turned out that he had been raping this boy. And the guy went there and said, "Oga DPO, this is not our person. He's a rapist. And it's not our person." Right? So the LGBT community itself also does that, but I think that we can also do more in distancing ourselves from persons who are abusers. And an abuser is an abuser. An abuser is not straight or gay. If a person rapes, he's a rapist. Just like a thief is not straight or gay. A thief is someone who takes something that does not belong to him. A rapist is one that abuses somebody sexually that doesn't, that cannot consent, right? So it's not whether they're gay or straight or all of that. So there's no, again, the only reason why I say this is because also to avoid any sort of exceptionalism. Because exceptionalism in the first place is why LGBTs are. So there's no, gay people are not special. They're human beings normally. There are bad people who are gay, there are good people who are gay. There are people who have relationships who are gay, there are people who just want to sleep around. Just like every other person.
I just want to say thank you very much for asking the question. Please give her a round of applause because I think she was very brave able to voice the fears and things that she was feeling even despite not understanding certain things to a great degree, and thank you to the panel for being able to educate more.
Hello everybody, my name is Omolara and I do not have a question, but the conversations we've had today has just brought some thoughts to my mind, and I'd like to start from the last point where we stopped. So it kind of irks me sometimes when people think that gay people are sexual predators. It's interesting to know that a grown woman like me would visit a male friend. It's called Netflix and chill, if you are wondering what I'm talking about. You go to a male friend's place, for example, and 5 minutes into a movie or whatever activity you're into, he whips out his stuff and you're wondering, what is wrong with you? So that is not a gay person, is it? It is a straight man who you think has a brain in his head. But the idea is you cannot think that gay people are the problem. It's like thinking that crippled people are the problem. We are all human beings, and in this case we are all Nigerians. The Constitution in Chapter 4, around Section 34, states about all persons. In Nigerian law strikes me as the devil. I'm Christian and I'm a pastor's child, so I'm actually professional in this matter. The thing is, my parents, or as a grown-up, I've heard things like the devil will give you one thing and take 5,000. The Nigerian law is exactly like that. You give us a constitution that says every person is protected, and a few years down the line, you tell us that, oh, if you sleep with girl, you are not protected. If you sleep with a boy, are you giving us these rights and taking them back from us? Or I don't understand the Nigerian government half the time. Because it just comes to me as a group of confused people who have too much money. You sit down and say, hey, everybody is protected. You have the right to dignity of human person, right against torture. But what happens in our actual society? Gay people are being tortured every day. This brings me to another thought. I think it was John Lennon that said that the woman is the nigger of the world. I think we women are the black people of the world. We are the ones that do not count. I think men should consider themselves lucky that police arrest them for being gay. As a woman, they don't even care. They want to actually watch you have sex. Yeah. It's actually disturbing.
All right.
I am actually very, very excited to be here today. And I'm here as a Nigerian and not here as my job. I work for Human Rights Bureau in the State Department, and we've had this kind of discussions where the topic she just brought up came out, and it was a meeting with BC. And BC said at least we're being targeted. The women don't even count. We don't count in any way, shape, or form. And that also pushes for abuse to happen. Because now they're actually being videotaped and slut-shamed rather than even being taken as human beings. And also the fact that I'm going to state something very personal to you so that your fears will calm down. I am almost 35 years old. I was sexually abused as a child, and it was not stranger, and it wasn't the gay people. And that does way more damage to a child and I'm undoing all those harm that happened to me as a child for the past 3 years, and I'm still working on it. And they were not strangers. They were people in my house. Even now, my parents still can't accept the fact that that happened. And I'm 35, almost, next month. So when we look at our children, and I have a child, I have a teenage daughter that I protect, and every time she visits home with me, she's my handbag. I am sorry. It's not because I hate anyone, but because I know what happened to me as a child, and I'm not going to, I would probably commit murder if someone touches my daughter. So I'm very, 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 very particular about that. And I went to an only girls' school, boarding school. A lot of stuff happened there to get us wrong. And I think the fact that we actually put this gauging out there, it's become a trend. And I'm sorry, kids will try out stuff just because it's cool. Even for once, they may not be it, but we're making it something that is so amazing, or the forbidden fruit that kids will actually be like, okay, what is this thing that people are talking about? Let me go and try it. Just to spite you, because most times, I'm sorry, I grew up in Nigeria, we do things to spite our parents just because we don't care. And if we keep pushing our kids out there to try stuff like that, then is when your fears become real. But if you bring them home and have a plain discussion about them, what are you, who are you, it's easier for you to know what they are. And then you know what you're protecting them from. Okay, if you're gay, I'll protect you from the people like you. If you're straight, I'll protect you from the other. Like, you know what you're protecting your child from. I've been having this discussion for the past 3 years in my office, and the fact that we Nigerians are coming together to actually have this discussion makes me very, very happy. And I'll go back to my office. I'm on leave, oh, I beg. Nobody should come to me. I'm on leave. I'm in Nigeria in this place right now. But the joy of being here and having this conversation happen is what I can take back to my office when I get back next month and be like, wow, I know where these people are and they're having this conversation, and that then is good news.
Thank you very much. We have two ladies here.
Question. The thing is, you've just recently talked about people trying to label gay people as pedophiles, but I have noticed that there's a trend in which, of course, there has to be a disconnect. You have to try to make a group that you're trying to persecute to subjugate seem like they are bad. So you find out that when they were discussing things about the gay law, the Anti-Gay Marriage Act, or whatever it is called, that immediately that argument or the discussion comes to the fore. You will see people start to say, yeah, if they want to get married now, men want to get married to men, women want to get married to women, that the next thing is people will want to start sleeping with their dogs, people want to start, going, and immediately that's what they want to do, because they try to shame people, to try to bring you down. And it's the same thing, the next thing you go out with a 5-year-old or sleep with a 7-year-old and you say it's your right. But it isn't, because it has to do with consent. We're talking about adults here. What adults do in the privacy of their homes. And sometimes I'm holding hands in public. You hold out hands with your friends. And, when I was growing up, 2 ladies holding hands, secondary school, or anything like that, you didn't think immediately that, they must be gay.
Yeah.
You just thought they were friends, But now, it's almost like it's taboo. So everybody now looks at it and say, I shouldn't hug you a certain way. I shouldn't maybe sit on your laps or anything like that. I don't want to be construed as this or construed as that. But one thing a lot of people do not seem to realize is that, the sexuality is inherent in everybody. It's inherent in all of us to be both gay and straight. But the way, once you choose, it's like being right-handed or left-handed. You were born, and along the way, you adopt one or the other. It's inherent in you. And if everybody realizes that, then there will be no boogeyman in which you're thinking, I've got to be afraid of this person, I've got to distance myself from this person and all. And the reality of things, especially in a lot of African societies, but Nigeria, I won't talk about other African countries, is that this issue of pedophilia is one that affects almost every household in the country. You have an uncle who has molested a child, and you hear them, let's keep it hush-hush. You don't want the family's name dragged in the mud and all these kind of things. But when it's the gay man that has nothing to do with you, you're up in arms and everything. And he hasn't even come near you at all. So you're hiding this pedophile here, protecting him. But the one that is having his own relationship with the grown-up, you're going there to poke nose in his business. And this is the way we try to, of course, exclude people and make it seem like they're the bad ones. And unfortunately, we have to deal with that. I understand that people are saying, we need this, but it has to be baby steps. And for the LGBTI community, unfortunately, there are not, I won't say there are not enough role models, but there are not enough people higher up, like I was talking about class. Because in every struggle, even the civil rights movement in America, you find out that everybody hears about Rosa Parks refusing to stand up on the bus. But she wasn't the first person. They decided to use her as a poster person because she fitted a certain image. She had a good job, she looked a certain way, she dressed a certain way, she spoke a certain way, and they thought she was going to be credible. There was a girl who had done before her, who was young, but got pregnant out of wedlock, but they decided not to go with her. So that's the kind of thing. So you have to choose the battles, and you have to know how to advance it, because nobody's going to give it to you on a platter of gold. Thank you.
My name is Dima. My question comes from LGBT. I'm hearing about that, and I want to ask, heterosexuals grow up, get married, have children. Do LGBT people who want to have or adopt children, do they look at having a family sorry for using the word normal, but that's what I've grown up with. A normal mommy, daddy, children, family. I want to I want to know more on that, because even single parents in that state are advised to probably get mentors for their children of opposite sex and all. So I want to know from a child's point of view, growing up in that kind of family.
That Taylor Swift said at the MTV Awards this year or so, that was really striking. I think she was saying it as a joke. She's glad to live in a world where girls can be soldiers and boys can be princesses.
Yes.
And I thought that was such a profound statement, because you see, the thing is that we get to the world. When we arrive at the world, we forget that the world that we met is not the world that was. And then we want to stop it where we met it. We want to be like, well, people fought for these changes and we've gotten here, but please don't rock this boat Because, you know, but if the world had remained where it was, we wouldn't be here. We would be working for colonial masters. We'd be working under all kinds of social constructs that we have no say in. What I'm trying to say is that the whole construct of mommy and daddy is a social construct. Many of the things that we've come to deal with are social constructs for convenience, for the arrangement of society. People forget that male-female toilet separation is a recent social construct. It's not, you know, we assume that a lot of things we meet have always been like that over centuries. And so, if a boy has to deal with two mommies, he will not die from dealing with two mommies. If you have to deal with two daddies, he will not die from dealing with two daddies. Three daddies, four mommies. You know, I think that you know what? So it's
we already have like 5 mommies in Nigeria. So when
I always tell people that you have to empathize. The thing is that I tell people, when people are trying to have a discussion with somebody else, something that's strange to the person, I say, imagine somebody came to tell you now that you should sleep with, I don't know. I want to look for something that's a convention that we all agree upon that would shock us. Now we have to understand that people find it difficult to shake off convention. It's very difficult. It's a place of safety and comfort. So you have
every pastor does missionary.
It's exactly. It's like telling a Christian that sex, that there's nowhere in the Bible where missionary sex, you know, is you know, I'm a church boy. There's nowhere. I've looked. Really looked. There was nowhere Adam was on top of Eve and they did it thus. You know, there is no such thing.
That's the one you like.
So the thing is that, so these are uncomfortable changes. That's understandable. It's confusing for the parent to imagine a world where it's not clean and clear where the child should go. But what the parent needs to understand is that that's the world. The world constantly changes. And it's to our benefit that social constructs keep evolving to include all of us that may or might not be minorities at some point or the other.
I was also going to say that I'm not sure that there has been more harm caused to children than that by straight marriages. You know, where, yeah, I mean, because what men and women in homes have done to children, you know, that really stood up communities and actually whole generations. That many, and countries, that there are many people who turn out really weird, and it's because there was a daddy and mommy that were, you know, not very okay. So would you rather have a daddy and mommy that are not okay, or two daddies that are fine? You know? So it's not even about, it's not even saying that if there are gay marriages, children will turn out fine. It's saying, again, the same thing we've been saying, that they are normal human beings, that they are functional gay people, dysfunctional gay people. Functional straight people, dysfunctional straight people. There are straight people that I would not give children to, you know, men, women, mature, I would, like I say, keep any child away from them. There are uncles of mine that I just think, if they were infertile, I'm very happy. Because their biggest mistake was bringing children into the world, with, you know. So just think of them like normal human beings. That the same way. So what would happen if a woman had children with her husband, and very early on he died? You know, would those children suddenly just become, because there's no man in the house? You know, there are many of us. I have cousins that were raised by two women, maybe not two lovers, but a mother and her cousin who came in to help raise. All they saw were two women, and they were very close, and they were almost like partners. They shared, you know. So I think that Chude really said it perfectly, that, you know, the world will keep moving. We will not die. I think that's just the thing.
I can't speak for all gay people, but I can speak for myself. Do I want children? Yes, absolutely. I also believe in a family, yes. But I think the thing is, when I talk, I like to talk back my talk with research. There was a study again recently that was conducted, and it compared children that grew up in heterosexual homes or families with children that grew up in same-sex marriage, same-sex relationships, yeah? And the research actually found out that children who grew up in heterosexual homes didn't necessarily fare any better. And what that brought out was the fact that it's not about the sex of the parent, it's about the resources that's available to the parent. It's about the love that you're able to give to your child. Are you able to bring them up in a loving home, teach them what love is, teach them about life? Are you able to pay their way through school? Are you able to educate them? Are you able to, to make available to them, the things that are important to nurture them to become successful human beings? And I think that whether you're homosexual or you're heterosexual, it's possible to actually raise kids.
We just want to say thank you. Before Michael comes up to give the closing remarks, I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you who turned up here today. We really appreciate it. Give yourselves a round of applause for engaging us, for listening to us as well, and hopefully taking something away with you. We'd like to thank our panelists, Chude Jideonwo, Ayo Sogunro, Elnathan John, Pamela Adie, and Iheoma Obibi. Thank you very much. Something that has stayed with me and I would definitely like to pass on to everyone is this conversation is really fundamentally about dignity, about equality, about empathy, and about seeing every single one of us as human beings. Thank you all so much. I'd like to call on Michael, our Conjugal Director of Programs for Tears, to give us a closing remark. My name is Wana Udabong. Thank you so much.
Easiest thing is thank you. But when you're overwhelmed, sometimes the thank you might not be as easy as people think. We really want to thank everybody for being here, our panelists, our keynote speaker, and every other person that's been here. We have people from the Lagos State Ministry of Justice that are here. We really appreciate them. In fact, they were the first person to come in. And we have, in fact, when we are planning this, a lot of things were going in our mind about what happens about the media. And we're actually very surprised that we have lots of them. We have people from NTA, we have News Agency of Nigeria, private media, online. We really thank everybody for being here. And the reason why we are here is to continue the discussion about LGBT persons, not just in silos about only LGBT people, but want to discuss LGBT people in the context of human rights. And that's the reason why we are here. And this is just the beginning. Let's continue with the conversation. And it starts with each and every one of us that is here. And on behalf of the management, staff, and board members of Tears, I really want to appreciate you all for being here. We look forward to more collaborations with you, more discussions with you. If you have any questions or comments or advice, please see us at the back there. And apart from that, if you look at the right-hand side of the hall, we have a table for 2 books. We have The Fisherman by Chude Jideonwo, and also Born on Tuesday by Elnathan. So it's a 2-package thing. You buy the book, it's autographs for you. You can even take selfie with it. But please, don't allow him to draw anything on your book. So thank you very much, everybody. We look forward to having you more time with us. Thank you very much. And then lunch will be served down. No, lunch. Yeah, that's good. Lunch, where? That's the most important thing. Okay, the lunch will be served downstairs.
The idea is the protection of all people, irrespective of who they are or what they feel about them. And that people are not defined by their sexuality. They're defined by 2 things: by the fact that we are created equal, and by the fact that we are equal citizens of one country. And if we build a country in which everybody matters because they are human and because they are citizens, it's going to become irrelevant what relationships or what nature of relationships we contract or what our sexuality is. and we will be able to protect sexuality irrespective of difference. And will not be punishing difference on grounds of sexuality, on grounds of sexual identity, or things like that. But that is going to grow progressively as we commit to building a better country and better communities based on equality, based on mutual dignity. That really is the reason why we're here today. And the report on violations based on sexuality point out the kinds of things that have happened, the kinds of indignities we visited on people just because they're different, and we've got to try to understand.
I think we've had an important conversation today. These conversations are inevitable as our society continues to evolve. They are difficult conversations, but it's always better to be able to come together from a position of curiosity than from a position of fear. And what TS is doing today is ensuring that people have conversations, answer questions, and acknowledge differences and reach consensus.
I think today's program was fantastic. I think it was good that many of us came to have this discussion. I think it's important that we extend the debate and we make it as inclusive as possible.
So commemorating Human Rights Day, we just finished our conversation on human rights, sexuality and the law. And it's been a conversation understanding the limitations with statutory,
Okay, pick up.
Okay. It's really important and really great to understand the challenges with laws, the legal side of things, looking at the upper law, also looking at the same-sex bill as well. More importantly, also looking at violation of human rights regarding sexual minorities. And I think that was really the important thing, part of the discussion that came up. How are we going to change that? How are we going to change the language in which we use to communicate these issues and these things as well? And how do we, one of the pretty big things was how do we get everything under one stroke as human rights? Because it's definitely very difficult to say you want to try to elicit rights for just sexual minorities, but how do we say, this is a bigger human rights? How can we put it under one umbrella and actually get something out of it?
So when this gathering was actually organized by TS celebration of the 2015 Human Rights Day, and it was titled Human Rights, Sexuality and The Law. And the discussion was centered around violence against minorities, sexual minorities in Nigeria, and continued the discussion to increase awareness about human rights regarding sexual minorities, and in an effort to reduce the violence that sexual minorities in Nigeria face.
TS Nigeria started to organize a symposium where the members of the community, both the LGBT community and the wider society, can get to interact on issues around sexuality and the law and how this affects human rights. Well, of course, this is a topic that is not really a comfortable one for the wider society, for the wider Nigerian society, but there are things we need to discuss, there are things we need to explore. We have to understand the fact that human rights are absolutely for everyone, irrespective of gender, class, race, or other distinctions or discriminations. And at the end of the day, we hope that if more events like this come around and people are able to participate in more, there will be a broader education of society and people will be able to understand what's going on both in the LGBT community and within their own social interactions with the government and with themselves too. So yeah, this is a good initiative by the Initiative for Equal Rights, and I hope we'll be able to see more of it in the coming months and years.